And then the people I was in companies with, I toured with Amy Poehler. And my friend, some people here might know my friend Ali Reza, who runs the Pit Theater, whose name was Ali Faranakian at the time, and we toured around together for $75 a show and $25 a day per diem. But sometimes you would have to drive 3 days between shows.
And was everybody aiming for the same place? Was everybody aiming for Lorne Michaels' office?
You know, sort of. You certainly think, because that's kind of the only place to look. But that first you're trying to get into that main company at Second City because you get a living wage, you get health insurance and stuff. And then if you get to that main company in Second City, then yeah, you're definitely kind of looking towards SNL, but it's a thing where there's maybe 8 jobs for.
But stand-up was not going to be the way to go.
No, I experimented with stand-up a few times at a very amateurish level in Chicago. I have a lot of respect for stand-up. I think it's much scarier than improvisation because you're alone. The highs are higher and the lows are lower.
But did you have a routine? You had bits?
I had what they call a tight one, and 1 tight minute.
Better explain quickly.
No, so I never was I never had a full act as a stand-up. No, I improvised. But the stand-ups, by the way, they also wanted to be on Saturday Night Live. So it's a lot of people looking toward the same place.
So one of the great set pieces in this book is you get on an airplane and you go to 30 Rock to see Lorne Michaels, who's the creator of Saturday Night Live and has been the head of Saturday Night Live for about a century and a half. And
36 years.
And you're kind of terrified. And what happened?
My friend Adam McKay, who I worked with at Second City, was the head writer at SNL, and I sent him first she sent a submission packet of sketches, and then if they like that, they call you in for a meeting. So I flew to New York to have the meeting, and I remember I was like, get my nicest clothes. I had like a chenille V-neck sweater from Contempo Casuals, polyester pants, and I went to meet him. They said, "You're here to see Lorne Michaels?" I'm like, "Yes." I couldn't, it's like walking into your TV. So you're here to see Lorne Michaels. And I went up there and I waited, and the only thing anyone had told me was, whatever you do, don't finish his sentences. Don't talk over him. He doesn't like that. A woman I knew in Chicago, she had an interview once at the show, and she was a real chatterbox, and she thought it had cost her the job. So I went in, I was like, I'm not going to blow it. I'm not going to talk over him. It's fine. And they ushered me in after I waited for like 2 hours, and I sat down, and Lauren was like, "So you're from..." And I just panicked, like, "Don't finish it." If you finish it. And then, just what seemed like an eternity went by. And I just finally was like, "I'm from Chicago, Pennsylvania." I was like, "Chicago." And then I'm like, "Well, I just wanted to pack up my little bag." But it ended up being fine. I don't remember anything else about the meeting. I don't remember anything else.
Well, it must have gone well. You got the job.
I got the job, but I think, mostly...
Had you seen film? How did he know?
They had seen me as a performer a couple times at Second City, and were not interested. But he was taking Adam's word for it that my sketch packet was good. And by the way, no one's first sketch packet is good. They're always terrible.
Now, when you got there initially as a writer and a performer?
As a writer. No, definitely as a writer. I started in...
How many women were in the room?
In the room? Well, let's see. At the time, the female writers were me and a woman named Paula Pell, who's super funny. Yes. And a woman named Lori Nasso, and a woman named Cindy Caponera.
So the boys' club stuff was over completely?
I think it was the tail end of a very masculine era there. That was, as I say in the books, people were still kind of urinating in cups at times.
As guys do.
Yeah, every day.
Every day.
Yeah.
Morning, noon, and night.
People would honk a loogie into carpet, that kind of thing.
And the problem?
Yeah. And so it definitely had a different vibe in '97 than it did in 2005.
In the serious sense, how so? In the working sense, how so?
There were the ratio of men to women was a little different, and the women in the cast were really funny, but they were the women in the cast still, as opposed to the dominant figures in the cast.
Right.